Hello, everybody, and welcome to this very special episode of 21st June 2023, where we bring in the International Yoga Day and the International Day of Music with the person who best denotes and typifies both of these aspects of, uh, of life, of culture, of potentiality, and that's Munmun Ghosh. Munmun, thank you so much for being on our show today. This when I was totally focused on the Indian International Yoga Day, and when I was researching, I said, it's also International Day of Music, and you had done a session for us on music therapy on the 11th of Jan 2021, Munmun.
Yes, I'm very happy to be here. I mean, Deepa.
And Munmun has, you've been a teacher. You did English literature. You in fact topped your batch in your MA in university, first class first, and then you've been a journalist. I also had an opportunity to accompany you on one of your journalistic gigs when you were at Stardust, where we went to a star's home, and to my great disappointment, she was not there. So that was I will still hopefully one day I will get to visit a star with you. And then you have had so many places of touch points for us. You were at Crisil. After that, after a long stint with films, you worked at Crisil, and then you came and did a communication training workshop for us at Lumiere. I think it was
Yes.
2007, Munmun, which was so valuable and so precious for our team. And since then, you've done an in-person session on yoga, again one of a very memorable sessions. And when we had all the events go online during the lockdown, we actually started 2021 with this extremely uplifting session you did for us on the 11th of May over Zoom for the Lumiere team on music therapy. And today you're here talking to us on International Yoga Day, International Day of Music. I follow you on your YouTube channel, your sitar,
Thank you.
the
Yes.
recent piece that you put up on what is a raga and your exposition. And I will invite our viewers to also go and explore that. So, Munmun, let's dive deep in. When did yoga come into your life?
Thanks, Deepa, for first calling me in for this session. And so I think my mother, first got me into yoga. I mean, she asked me and my sister to learn yoga from a teacher in the neighborhood. This was in my childhood. I mean, I think when I must have been 10 or 11 at that point of time. So it was at her insistence that we learned a few asanas. I think in my 20s, when I was learning music in earnest, Indian classical music at Bharati Vidya Bhavan, and I used to have very severe acidity problems at that point of time. And when my music teacher, actually, Shashikala Kaikeni, she told me that why don't you start learning yoga from this person called Raju Dhingra. He's an excellent yoga teacher. And that's in my 20s, mid 20s, when I started learning yoga. Again, yoga meant that time asanas and pranayams.
Hmm.
Okay, so in my
Correct.
20s, it meant asanas and a few pranayams. And I did a 3-month course in yoga. And after that, I think so I can say for the last 25 years or more, I have been doing these asanas and pranayams every day of my life.
Wow.
Uh, with maybe, I cannot remember, maybe 10 days might have, in this last 25 years, I might have missed. I never begin my day without doing my, this asanas and pranayams. And this can be for only 20 minutes a day,
Okay.
but 20 minutes, and that is enough. 20 minutes of just, asanas and pranayams I've been doing. Of course, now I do much longer because now I have more time on my hands since I've given up my full-time job and I'm pursuing sitar in earnest. I'm playing sitar professionally. So I have more time. And so now I maybe do asanas and pranayams for maybe about 40 minutes every day. But I did it for 20 minutes every day. And I believe that yoga, along with music, has kept me alive to this point. Really, I give the credit completely to my practice of these asanas and pranayams. And then I think my third stage of learning yoga came about maybe I think 10 years back,
Mm-hmm.
or I 8 9 8 9 years back or so, when I decided to learn yoga at the Santa Cruz Yoga Institute to train as a yoga instructor, you know, because I had benefited so much from yoga, you know, and that I said that I needed to teach. And that's why I enrolled for this teacher's training course there to become a yoga instructor. And that course really changed my life, so to say. I mean, it was just brilliant, because there I think I for the first time truly understood the meaning of yoga, you know, that it goes much beyond asanas and pranayams, you know. So what yoga really meant, I think I only know for the last 8 years or so. And now I'm trying to disseminate that knowledge, because it is so precious, and it can contribute to the wellness of, I think, every human being. That's why. So that's been my journey, personal journey in yoga.
Amazing. So you got introduced to it as a 10-year-old, which was primarily asanas.
Yes.
Then for 25 years in your 20s, again to combat something was a health setback, you went back. And for 25 years, relentlessly, you practiced every day for about 20 minutes alongside your work, your job.
Yes.
And now, in the last 8 years, you've uncovered a new dimension. Maybe you want
Yes.
to tell us, this must be a sense with all of us that when we think yoga, we think asana or at best some pranayams.
Hmm. So you see, actually, yoga, what does it mean? Let's go to the word yoga. You know, it comes from the Sanskrit root yuj, which means to unite. Now, what unites with what? You know, in we say in the final stage of yoga, the individual soul becomes one with the universal soul. Hmm? So that is yoga, that perfect union. But in the secular sense, it means to become one with the object of concentration. Hmm? So if an actor is doing a role of a doctor and is concentrating to such an extent, when the actor literally becomes the doctor, you know, that is yoga. So it is means just a state of perfect concentration, you know, perfect concentration. In Gita, the Bhagavad Gita says, yoga samatvam uchyate. Means yoga means the highest mental equilibrium. You know, to achieve a state of mind when you are not affected by the ups and downs, by the dualities of existence. You know, when you can meet every situation in life with that same equanimous state. You know, that means, but we all know that the mind is restless. You know, the human mind, the ancient rishis had said, the human mind is as restless as a drunken monkey bitten by scorpions. You know? So, so, so we get so easily swayed. Hmm? So, how to train this mind? How to tame this mind? That is actually the aim of yoga. No, because yoga believes that the mind and body are completely connected. You know, there's a mind and body union complete. But what happened is our ancient yogis, especially the hut yogis, they realized that most people, if you ask them to train the mind, they find it difficult, because between the mind and body, definitely the body is easier to control. So that is why they emphasized asanas, where you gain control of the body first. And through control of the body, you slowly gain control of the mind. Hmm? So that's the reason why asanas, are given so much of importance in yoga. Hmm? But asanas and pranayams are all ways to finally gain control of the mind only. No,
Correct.
the final aim of yoga is spiritual elevation. You know, how you can elevate yourself. Hmm? So, and how do you elevate? And in very, if I talk in very worldly terms, it means to achieve success in anything that you do. You know, like when what's that, Patanjali, he wrote the Ashtanga Yoga. He said this is the path to achieve success and happiness in life. That's it. In very, very, understandable terms. You know, we are not even calling it spiritual elevation. He's just saying if you want to be successful in life, then just follow this yoga, these steps of 8 steps of yoga. And asanas and pranayams actually are the third and fourth step of this Ashtanga Yoga.
Correct.
So to get the full benefit of yoga, you not only have to do those asanas and pranayams, but you also have to follow those yamas and yamas. Hmm? Now, those five yamas, I think we have all internalized because the five yamas are ahimsa, non-violence; satya, speak the truth; asteya, non-stealing; aparigraha, non-hoarding. This is a very important one for our times, in this consumerist world we live in. Aparigraha, that you will own as much as you need. That is the fourth yama. And the fifth yama is brahmacharya, which we translate as sexual fidelity, that is fidelity to your partner. That is how we translate it. So these five yamas have to be followed, and then even more importantly, the five niyamas. Would you like me to talk about the five niyamas, Deepa, a little?
Yes, I think the five niyamas become so important also for
Yes.
youth, I think.
Yes, yes.
Both
So I
yama
think for,
and
yes,
niyama, but I think we should.
yes. So the five niyamas, I think they are really crucial if you want to be happy in life and successful. And again, they are very simple and understandable. The first one is saucha, cleanliness. Obviously, we all know that we have to be physically clean, and by that I don't mean just taking a bath and cleaning the body, but it also means doing asanas, and any other kind of physical exercises, also walking every day, so that you keep the body clean from inside also. Then again, the food that you put inside your body, that is very important. What are you eating? Our mind depends on what we eat also. What kind of food are we eating? Are we eating sattvic food, or are we eating junk food all the time? That is important. And the most important aspect of culture is mental cleanliness, keeping the mind clean. How do we keep this mind clean? So we say that, we are very conscious of not eating food from the garbage. We are not going to take food from the garbage and put it in our mouth, through our mouths, because we care for our bodies. So similarly, we have to be careful of what images are we putting in our mind also. What are the thoughts that you are feeding your mind? Because somewhere they affect our subconscious, and finally our actions. So put good thoughts into your mind also. Even, of course, this doesn't mean that you run away from the harsh realities of life. Obviously, you have to know what are the realities, but you also going to clean the mind at the end of the day with some good music, or by reading some spiritual literature, something good, listening to us. That is saucha. Second is santosha, contentment. Again, that's difficult. Today, we are all living in
Yeah,
highly, times when we are in a very competitive world we live in. So we are constantly, we even measure how many likes did my post get. That also upsets us. Oh, my post got so few likes and that one's got. So but that way is to teach ourselves to be content again, because that's important for us to be able to concentrate on what we are doing and be happy in life. So how do you cultivate contentment? It's a very simple formula. Just at the end of the day, appreciate what you have. Instead of looking at what you don't have, just appreciate what you have in your life. Be grateful. Say a prayer of gratefulness, that thank God I have this much today. So just be grateful. That is that's the way to be santosh. The third niyama, is a very, very important niyama according to tapa. That is austerity, or training the senses, that you have to be hard on yourself. You have, and we all know this, that to achieve anything in life, you have to work hard. So no, not indulgence all the time. We always keep on talking our rights, our rights, our rights. No, no, no. At the moment, be hard on yourself. Think of your responsibilities. Think how you can execute your responsibilities the best. Take on challenging things. We challenge you. Take them up and meet those challenges. Tougher, be hard on. And again, of course, it means waking up even when you don't want to wake up too early in the morning. All those things. Restraining yourself from eating that second rasgulla. That is also tougher. You know, you don't want to eat that. And wherever we go, we are offered so much of good food these days. So we have to exercise tougher and say, no, this is not good for me. I will not. So that is tougher. That's all. That the fourth niyama is swadhyay, self study. At the end of the day, sit with yourself and study. where did I go wrong, what could I do better. Also pat yourself on the back if you did something good, I did this good today,
So important.
very important. It's very important to love yourself also. And again, when we say that, okay, yesterday I could do so much, like maybe if I'm also playing sitar, sometimes one day I feel, God, I can't play that tan, and I just feel so frustrated. And then again I tell myself, no, but today I could play this tan which I couldn't play even last week, you know
Correct.
so I tell myself, okay, so I have progressed a little, and I'm going to work hard, and I will reach the next milestone also, so that taking account of yourself, each time, that what are you, and not only at the time of New Year's when we say New Year's resolution, not that, every day at the end of the day, self study, and also studying some spiritual literature on a daily basis, because that always gives you some direction, some new perspective, on how to look at your own life. So that's very important. The fourth one there. And the last one, which is the most important, Ishwar Pranidhan. Ishwar signifies the universe. Pranidhan is surrender. Surrender to the universe. Believe in the universe. Yoga says that this universe is benevolent and is always working for our good. So start with some kind of faith, working faith, with some form of prayer must be a part of your daily routine. You know. So, and because when what happens when we pray, when I have faith in this universe, then I can do my work peacefully. It's like a child, when a child is doing his homework, he knows parents are taking care of the house and all everything. So when he is assured, so then he can concentrate on his homework because he has complete faith that he's taken care of. You know.
Correct.
So exactly. So even if we tend to be agnostic, like even I tended to be quite an agnostic in my youth, in my early years of life, and then I realized one day that what is the point of questioning life constantly? Questioning this higher principle, call it God, call it universe. Why? What is the principle? What is the point about it? If I can believe in the universe and be happy, then that is a more intelligent, choice than to not believe in anything and be unhappy. You know. So I said, so even rationally, as a rational being, to put your faith in this universe makes absolute sense.
Correct.
So and I think I have been for the last 20 years I've been chanting, and I think I've been a much happier person. So Ishwar Pranidhan is a very important rule for for being happy, and that's what yoga. It's one of the niyamas. So I think these niyamas, along with the practice of asanas and pranayams, can definitely ensure that you will lead a happy life.
Amazing. Munmun, you wrote three books. It's not a easy activity to do write a book, let alone. So in fact, we did a book launch for you for your second book, Unhooked at Lumiere, and I anchored your book launch, Thicker Than Blood,
Yes.
which the first event that you had. I'm very, as I'm listening to you talk, do you think there is an opportunity for another book where you can talk about yoga and its importance for these times? Because what you spoke just now and how accessible you made it, it sort of, I think, would resonate, and it would just make it very, the yamas, the niyamas, and the Ishwar Pranidhan. When you talk about a child doing without a care in the world, the child is doing homework, and just knowing, or when the child is being driven in the car, the child is not bothered. They know that the
Yes.
father's driving the car or the mother's driving the car, and they're in the back seat. So this metaphor that we are being carried, that the universe is benevolent, I think we need to have this accessible, and you write so well. So giving, just seeding that thought with you.
Okay. Yes. I am thinking of a book. Maybe it's like in the thoughts, but more to do on Indian culture and on Hinduism, but it is still. I still have to really work on it. At the moment, I'm a little preoccupied with my musical, pursuit, and with sitar and with Indian classical music. So I'm not getting the time, but I definitely do want to write one more book on
Yeah.
definitely covering, yoga, Hinduism and Indian culture. I definitely would like to do it.
And one, I also know that you had started to study Sanskrit and you did a program on to learn Sanskrit as well. And has that also helped your study in the ability to understand yoga and to understand yoga philosophy? Is that also why you learned Sanskrit?
I wouldn't say that that has helped me greatly because that was really spoken Sanskrit. I did a course in spoken Sanskrit, excellent course it was, and I did it actually. My father would always say that you must learn Sanskrit, but I did not really have the scope at that point since our schools did not teach Sanskrit, and I did not realize that time the importance of the language also like I do today, you know. And but when we were learning yoga, we were taught like the meaning of the phrases, even from Yoga Sutra, Patanjali's Yoga Sutra. Whenever the phrases, we used to be explained the meaning, and also if you look at it, because I'm a Bengali. So now I realize that so many words in Bengali, they all come from Sanskrit directly, you know. So so we all have Sanskrit. We are also speaking Sanskrit actually,
Correct.
because if you are speaking Marathi, Hindi, Bengali, or any of these Indian languages, they all they come from Sanskrit itself, So,
The
so
root
I
is there.
think
So,
yes, the root is there. It is just that, and when you think a little deeper, you understand that, oh, okay, this is where it came from. In fact, it's very interesting. The other day, somebody told me that rupaya, the word rupaya, ek rupaya, do rupaya. So, so we initially think that this word rupaya is of Urdu origin or not of Sanskrit origin. But then actually we realize rupaya comes from rupak. The word rupak from roop, which is an image of something. Now, just imagine how interesting this is. It is the image. That means that is the form of that money, that value you are giving to it. So, in that sense, I think now I'm discovering Sanskrit, and it is really exciting. The when you discover the Sanskrit root of the word which you have been using otherwise. And I do hope that Sanskrit is taught in more and more schools, because I'm sure that it would really help so much the children, if they can be exposed to Sanskrit at a very young age. It's But for me, I think that I learned it more out of curiosity, and it made me just feel good. That was it. I don't think more than that.
So, when we were thinking about this course and in it, with your session, and I was very tempted to have it as an in-person session, but I felt it was important for at least this piece to go on the YouTube channel for everyone to access, and then to use this also as a route to access other stuff that you put on your YouTube channel. So you write about Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore, you talk about the ragas, you talk about so many facets of culture. Maybe you want to touch a little bit upon, how yoga has helped, well-being and wellness. One of our colleagues was asking this question when she said, post-COVID, how does one use yoga to feel rejuvenated again? I just feel a little
Yes, yes.
depleted. And can yoga help me? So this was her question. What would you like to tell Shalini?
Absolutely, yoga can definitely help you. So I think I've already spoken about asanas and pranayams that these are important. So I would like to maybe give a few pointers that that one can easily do. Hmm? The first is, I think we all know about pranayam, how important that is. Very quickly to say, pranayam means regulation of the prana, the life force. And the life force is represented by the breath. Hmm? And our ancient rishis made this great, I think, breakthrough realization that breath corresponds to thought. You know? So while we cannot control the flow of thoughts in our minds, we can control our breath, and by controlling our breath we get control of the mind. No, so pranayams are basically exercises in deep conscious breathing. Deep conscious breathing, which when you do regularly, they will steady the mind. That is pranayams. So I would suggest everyone who is watching, please go and learn to do a few pranayams very usefully, because these are useful, because as I said, mind and body are intimately connected. you know Pranayams will help you to gain control of your mind, steady your mind. Secondly, how pranayams benefit us when we inhale very deeply, we take in more oxygen from the air, no? And that is how all the cells of the body get rejuvenated. No? And when we are exhaling fully, we are throwing out more toxins. So that's why pranayam, any pranayam like Anulom Vilom, is guaranteed to, this increase your hemoglobin levels, to make you more healthy, energetic. Any pranayam. One morning, as if I wake up one morning feeling slightly groggy, if I had a late night by chance, I just have to sit and do a few pranayams, anulom viloms, for maybe just, 5, on each side, inhalation, exhalation, and a few other asanas, and I'm going to feel energized fully. No? So please start doing this pranayams every day. Some even for just 5-10 minutes, 10 minutes start. And the simplest pranayam I'm going to teach you all right now is, it's called conditioning. This is an act of conditioning. Before every activity we do, we will take 3 deep breaths. So Deepa, I would like to at the moment just close our eyes, and if we both of us can just take even one deep breath and gain back, and let us see how we feel. One deep breath. Okay, Deepa, how did you feel, Deepa?
Very nice. It
Just
was
one deep
so
breath.
calming
So
and
calming. So we say, just like, I always give this another example, that whenever we are starting an activity, that means you're going to focus on something. So now you have to clean the mind of the impressions of the last activity. How do you clean the mind? It's like when we were in school, the school teacher would enter and she would first clean the blackboard.
correct.
Whatever was written by the earlier teacher, she would clean the blackboard. So it was an indication for all of us that the new lesson will begin. You know, so cleaning the mind before starting a new activity is very important. And how do we do that? By just taking 3 deep breaths. So anybody can do this. This is called conditioning. So before every activity, like before I started this, I just took a few deep breaths. So before every activity, before you open your laptop and you start your office work, take 3 deep breaths. You know, that is your, and then focus. You will see, you will focus much better. You know, that is, your mind is calmer. Because please understand that all problems, diseases, vyadi starts in the mind. Adi. Adi is in the mind. All the mental disturbances, when we cannot tackle them, they finally lead to vyadi or illnesses. So let us tackle the mind at that level. We will control the stress level. We will calm the mind, keep the mind calm and clean, and obviously then no vyadi can set in there. No, that's it. So so please do conditioning. That is before. Another thing I would suggest is, after the whole day's work, go when you're going back home, go and do shavasana. Shavasana, very simple. Just lie down on your back with your palms facing the ceiling. Close your eyes and just feel your abdomen going up and down, up and down. Just nothing else, only the abdomen going up and down. Just don't even try to control the breath, just follow the breath. Follow the rising of your abdomen and falling of your abdomen. Shavasana, at least 5 minutes, lie down in that position and then get up and start doing your kitchen work and all other work. So that's a very important thing. Asanas, so obviously I would ask you all to learn. I mean, just a few asanas people can learn. And the science behind this asanas, Deepa, is very interesting. Obviously asanas are all stretching. Like right now, if I tell you, let us do Parvatasana, where we just stretch the arms here, and I'm joining the arms in namaskar upstairs. This is Parvatasana, no? So when you do this, you will see you're feeling the stretch along your this arms, upper back, all these are stretched. So what happens is, when you stretch, so all these asanas, when you do, the blood flow, you improve the blood flow, oxygenation of the body, and also coordination of the nervous system and the muscles and the physical system. Now here I would like to share with you all a very interesting tip that I learned from another yoga teacher. This is a very interesting one. That any muscle, understand this, that any muscle, if it is if it is pulled in one direction for a long time, that gets stressed. So what happens generally when we are working on the laptop or on the mobile, our necks are always like this. So what happens? The neck muscle, the back muscle, is because that muscle is being pulled in one direction. So all you have to do from time to time, look up and stretch your neck in the opposite direction. Hmm. So this is a very simple thing, that any muscle in one direction, if it will get stretched for too long. So all you do is just stretch that muscle in the opposite direction. Like again with the laptop, you are again, your shoulders are bending forward a little constantly. So how do you relax the shoulders? You just stretch behind. Just stretch behind. Yes, that's it. Just stretch and your muscle is going to get relaxed,
Wow.
you know. So these are such important. So when you are sitting for a long time, as soon as you get up, stand up and do this talasana. Stretch your, when you are stretching your, rise on your, stand on your toes, stretch it. I think even normally, Deepa, when we have this, you see, when we get up, we don't do this, we do this, na?
Yeah.
We do this generally. Why? Because the hand has been lying in this position for long. So you stretch it up again. You know? So
And
this is a very
unconsciously, that's the way even dogs do
unconsciously,
that.
this
Very
we do.
unconsciously. The dogs
Very
also do that. They
unconsciously,
stretch.
yes, we stretch it in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
So our asanas, actually, we stretch every part of the body, all the limbs, everything gets stretched. So the blood circulation improves to all the organs, and you are definitely a much healthier person. I just want to share two more very quick ways to remain energetic. Somebody said that how do we remain mentally energetic? Mentally. So there I would like to say again, since the mind and body are connected, just imagine if you are sitting and you're feeling very sluggish and a little low or dull or whatever. If your friend comes and tells you, "Hey, I've got tickets for this great film which has come to town," what will happen? You will immediately feel energized. Get up, come, come. We have to rush quickly. You will immediately go. So what happens? So it is just that you have to. You just need, the mind needs some excitement. Also, so be creative. It's very important to be creative, to so that the mind remains energized. Be creative in whatever you're doing. In the kitchen, I think the kitchen is a highly, good place to be creative. You can be very creative with cooking, with all kinds of dishes, make some difference, something. Then the way you arrange your room, the house. So your being creative is crucial to keeping the mind energized. Of course, if you are into music, then obviously you are creating. That's why some form of hobby, if you pursue, music especially, I think should be a part of everybody's life in some way, because that really, really, I think that it boosts your immunity. Music boosts your immunity level when you are singing, because again your energy levels are high. You are feeling happy. It
Correct.
releases good, this what is the good hormones in your body. When you are feeling happy. So that's why it's very important to be creative. And the other thing to remain happy and to is seva. Seva is very important. That do some form of selfless activity. I wouldn't even call it selfless activity, because I think even when I am doing something for others, I'm doing because it's making me happy also. But do something for others also. Seva. That for anything. I mean, if you are staying with your mother-in-law, making just a simple cup of tea for your mother, as simple as that. Or in some form of seva is important in life, where you are doing something for others. I think, and we all know these are very simple things. Actually, we all know that, if I have to cook just for myself, I will cook it. I'm not so happy, but the minute if a friend is dropping, what will happen? I will cook with a little more interest, with energy. So
Correct.
definitely incorporate some form of seva, from the simplest form of seva to the people in your house, to working for some ashram or some mandir, and going on offering your selfless service, maybe once a week, or so these two things are also very important for remaining mentally energetic. So I think I've given quite a few tips, Deepa.
Yes, and it's not a session on music. Otherwise, we would have had a nice sitar
uh,
performance by you. But I think for that, they can go to your YouTube channel,
yes.
and after we, we'll also share links to that. Munmun, this talk has given so many easy and accessible ways that we can imbibe a small practice. Like you had a practice for 25 years for 20 minutes, and I think that's doing something for yourself, to for body, for mind. And I think it also explains the levels of energy, the sense of well-being that that is there. And each one of us can take a little responsibility for bringing that. And no other better way or an accessible way where you can do this. Today there are a lot of places where one can get information. There would be classes where there could be something in the neighborhood, or online classes. And I think also yoga is uh, for all ages, because I was
Yes,
reading about chair
absolutely.
yoga that you can do for elders. uh,
Yes, it's for all ages, definitely. The asanas can be all customized. The asanas are not like kind of rigid things. The asanas, every asana, depending on your state of health, it can be, customized. And I just wanted to add one thing about yoga, because now you mentioned that today you can learn yoga in several yoga classes. But what I would like to emphasize is that, where you can learn it from any class, but you have to finally do it on your own every day. That's very important, because I find many people nowadays, they go to the classes and they say, I go thrice a week and I do thrice a week. No,
mm,
that's not enough. Yoga is not like a gym, where you go thrice a week and that's enough for you. No, the asanas and pranayams preferably must be done every day. And as I said, that's why don't do it for very long. Just 50, we say 15 minutes asanas and 15 minutes pranayams is more than enough, more than enough for you to keep you healthy. Just that much. Don't do too long, because then you will not do it every day. You know? And go and learn yoga from a class, from a yoga class. But finally do it, make it a habit to do it alone yourself. And all you need is one yoga mat and some space, of course, which is actually a luxury in Bombay. Yes, but all you need. That's the beauty of yoga. You don't need any gadgets, nothing. Even the weight, we use the weight of our own bodies, to strengthen our arms, because the asanas are devised in such a way. So please do it every day in your houses.
So Munmun Ghosh, she's told us, and really practice her credo, which is bringing beauty, benefit, and value every day into life. And I think, Munmun, in this conversation, we could have glimpses of all of that. Yeah, uh, you talked about cleaning the mind. I think a very important practice for all of us. Uh, Orienting the mind with the three breaths. There are so many takeaways from this talk, and even if we practice a few and practice them daily, because I think if we don't practice it daily, Munmun will say not good enough. And I think we owe it to ourselves. uh,
Yes.
so Munmun, thank you so much once again for this talk. I really, really wish you all the very best and look forward to the next time we will have a conversation with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Deepa, for having me over. And yes, anytime for you. Okay. I just want to end with three omkars, if you don't mind.
Yes, please.
Huh? So we will just do three omkars and end.
Thank you.